Thank you for joining me for yin. I love teaching yin, so I'm so excited to be here to help you relax and get into that deeper connective tissues. So we'll kind of do a lot of things today. We'll do the neck, we'll do the hamstrings, the hips, and the shoulders and the back. I was thinking lots of heart opening today too. So we'll get started in supported fish. So grab like anything you have at home. You can grab your blocks or like a pillow or a bolster. I have a pillow over here somewhere. And then just begin to recline back onto it. So you just have like a gentle heart opener to begin with. And then we'll also have a gentle hip opening. So we'll bring the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. And you want to bring the bolster just to the lower back and then just begin to recline back and allow the arms to come out wide. Actually, I really like that this pillow here is a little bit short, so my head is hanging off. And a lot of fish poses, like throat chakra opening is a big part of it. So maybe your pillow's the same, or maybe you want to add support underneath your head too. So just begin to set up here, tuning into your body, into your breath. If this is too much on the hips too early, or you feel any kind of pinching in the back, you're welcome to either send the feet out a little bit wider, so sending it away from the torso, or bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees, or the feet far, and then the knees together. Or the legs can just go out long. You can kind of just decide for yourself which shape feels most comfortable. If you want the hip opener, but it's too much, you can shove some pillows underneath your knees as well. So just take a moment here. You can allow your arms to go wide. I like my arms to go out to a big T, so really extending them out, because the arms are an extension of the heart chakra. So just begin to feel the expression of the heart as you widen the arms really wide here. Maybe even widen the fingertips as that final expression of the heart that stems from the center of the chest down both of the shoulders, down the upper arms, down through the elbows, the forearms, and out through each and every finger. Maybe here you even begin to envision like a beautiful green light that just shines from the heart out through the fingertips, sending love to all those that need. And then maybe it comes back into your heart, and then it sends back out. You can imagine that visualization of that green light coming in and out from the heart, sending out love and receiving it. That beautiful equal exchange. Here, from a place of love, as you've connected to your heart chakra, can you set an intention, a word or a phrase you'd like to embody or invite in that is a loved-based energy, something that is positive, that you can bring with you off of the mat. Whatever that intention is, take a deep inhale. Feel the intention swirl like energy within the body, and then as you exhale, send it out into the universe, allowing it to come into fruition. Once more like that, breathe it in, feel the intention, fill your core, deep into your cells, into the DNA. And then as you exhale, send it out into the universe. We'll take one more deep inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll sigh it out, releasing any stagnant energy. Slowly bring the soles of the feet down to the earth. Begin to engage your core. And then we're going to come up to seated. So maybe you kind of bring your hands up. You can slide to the side if you want instead, but maybe you engage your core to come all the way up to seated. Great. And then we'll just find a comfortable seat. You can sit cross-legged or on your knees. And then we'll just begin to get into the shoulders and the neck here. So take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, root down into your sit bones. And then inhale, feel the spine lengthen. Your shoulders are over your hips. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Inhale, sweep up. And then exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep up. And then exhale, left hand to right knee, right hand back behind you for a little twist. Twisting is so good on the lower back. It's also slightly a heart opener, so you're opening the heart towards the right side of the room. Feel the left shoulder press forward as the right shoulder presses back. Keep the spine nice and long. And then maybe it's okay on your neck, you can gaze back at that right shoulder. And then inhale, come through center. Open twist to the other side. Right hand down, left hand back behind you, and breathe into this twist. Again, keep the spine long. So maybe with inhales, you feel the spine grow a little bit taller. And as you exhale, you feel the twist deepen just a little bit. Bringing the right shoulder forward and the left shoulder back. Slowly come back through center, reach the arms up. Press the right hand down, left hand will reach up and overhead. And then notice if you're coming off of this sit bone, right? And then also notice if this top shoulder is coming down. You want to peel it back so that the left shoulder or the left tricep and bicep are in line with the left ear. And then make sure you're not collapsing on that bottom side body. You want to keep it long too. And then just breathe into the intercostal muscles here. Maybe you gaze up at the inside of that left elbow. And you breathe here. As you exhale, cactus the elbows like a lat pull down. Feel the back muscles engage and then look away so you look towards the right hand. And then you should feel a nice stretch in the left side of the neck. Maybe here you kind of lift the chin up and down, side to side, just kind of playing around with how that feels. All right, inhale, lengthen the left arm up. You can gaze up. And then exhale, cactus, gaze away. Inhale, look up, straighten the arm. Exhale, cactus. From here, lift the left arm back up. You'll bring the left hand up and over to the right ear, so the left ear is coming towards the left shoulder. And then you're creating space on the right side of the neck here. You can begin to walk your hands a little bit, your right hand a little bit further. You can stay here, and maybe you kind of play around with moving the hands forward and back. Up and down, searching for like your glasses in the middle of the night or a flashlight or something like that. Or candy. Do you ever eat candy in the middle of the night? So bad, my dentist would kill me. Anyway, come back to center. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. We're gonna switch the feet just in case you are sitting like me, just to kind of even out a little bit. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Left hand down, right arm up and over. And then again, root down into the right sit bone. Notice if it's coming up. It's obviously probably not exaggerated coming up like this, but you can kind of feel that more of the weight is in your left hip. So can you begin to press down on the right side? Keep that right biceps by the right ear. You can gaze up at that inner elbow. Create a nice long line of energy from that right hip all the way to the fingertips. And then as you exhale, cactus the elbow. So feel the back muscles engage a bit on that right side. And then you can gaze away from that right elbow as you look towards the left hand, creating space on the right side of the neck. Lift and lower the neck or the chin side to side. Play around with it. All right. From here, you're gonna lengthen that arm back up, gaze up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, look up, gaze up, straighten the arm. Exhale, cactus. Bring that right arm back up and then overhead so that it comes to the left ear to right shoulder, left hand out to the side. You can stay here once again, or you can find that movement. For me, this movement feels so good because it begins to stretch out the different fibers in the neck, and then you kind of notice which ones are needing a little bit more attention, and you kind of hang out there. Ooh, for me, reaching my hands forward feels really nice. You can reach it up and down. Another good visualization for it, like waving your hand, is like when you're a kid and you're like on a road trip and your hand was kind of out the window and you're kind of just like letting the wind come through your hands. You wave through it. All right. From here, release the hand. Bring the head back up tall. We'll bring a big shoulder shrug. So bring your chin, like your shoulders all the way up to your ears and then let them go. Do it twice more. Bring it all the way up. Let it go. One more time. Let it go. And then find some shoulder shrugs up and down. And then find those circles, right? Forward, up, back, down, forward, up, back, down, and then vice versa. And then we'll find a couple of head rolls. So bring your right ear to the right shoulder. Take a nice little stretch and then slowly make your way down through center. Once you're in center, hold here for a moment. And then slowly bring it to the left ear. For some people, it causes too much compression at the back of the neck. So if you feel like it's too much to bring your head back, don't do it. You can kind of just like look up a little bit. Or if it's okay for you, you can drop it back and then come all the way to the right. Bring your head back up through center, and we'll do it to the other side. So left ear to left shoulder. Slowly come down. Hold here in center. Bring it over to the right. And then if it's okay on your neck, you can bring it all the way back too. All right. Beautiful. We're gonna start with a forward fold. So just begin to extend the legs out long in front of you, coming into that Dandasana shape, really keeping it super tight at first, right? So you just flex the toes really strong towards the face. We're not gonna hold it strong for the whole entire time, right? But just to set up, make sure you're rooting down into your sit bones, have a nice long spine, crown of the head reaching up, relax the shoulders. And then from here, begin to walk yourself forward. As you begin to walk yourself forward, you'll kind of feel that space where you're like, I can't go any further with a straight spine. And that's where you can round, right? Because we're in yin, we're allowed to round. So just begin to breathe into your hamstrings. And if you're able to grab the feet, that feels like an extra stretch for me. I always feel it a little bit more in my calf muscles if I can. And you can always like grab a strap or something if you want to feel that stretch in the calf muscles. And then just begin to relax here. So we get into the still postures of class today. Just begin to relax your mind. We'll be holding these postures generally for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the shape. Something like this we'll probably hold for about 3. Something like a child's pose we can hold for 5, just because, you know, that's a nice comfy pose. Of course it gets a little bit difficult towards the end, but we want to feel that discomfort in these shapes, right? The discomfort is us creating change within the body. It's creating change within that deeper connective tissues and the fascia, the joints, the ligaments. So know that that is good for your body to find a little bit of discomfort. Maybe you begin to tap into that niyama of santosha, contentment regardless of circumstance. Santosha is all about finding and choosing happiness, no matter what shape you're in your yoga class, no matter what your boss just said to you, no matter what the traffic looks like, right? It's just finding and choosing a little bit of happiness. And it's not the same thing as spiritually bypassing, right? It's not ignoring the problems. It's just choosing to have a happier perspective when you can't change what's going on. When you can change things, change them, right? Take another couple of inhales here, and then maybe go a tiny bit deeper. Maybe you round the head a little bit heavier. Maybe you shake out the head, yes and no. Connect to the hamstrings. There's superficial fascia that runs through the entire posterior chain of the body, so the entire backside of the body. It runs all the way from the backs of the feet, up the legs, up the spine, all the way over the crown of the head to the eyebrows. So maybe you begin to notice if you can soften the space between the eyebrows, you soften the forehead, And then maybe you feel the crown of the head soften, the ear soften a bit, the back of the neck soften. Noticing this chain of events as the shoulders and the spine begins to relax a little bit more. You feel any tension in the glutes begin to dissipate. You begin to release the spaces in the hamstrings that are sticky, behind the knees, in the calves and the ankles, all the way to the tips of the toes, feeling that entire relaxation. As you soften the toes, same thing, you feel a line of relaxation from the backs of the feet, backs of the legs, back of the torso, all the way to the crown of the head, to the area between the eyebrows. Can you feel this long line of energy? All right, slowly begin to walk yourself out, bringing your hands back by your side. Create a strong Dandasana shape here. Flex the toes towards the face, relax the shoulders, and then bring your ankles in. We'll roll over and come into a cat-cow. We'll just find a couple of cat-cows just to counterbalance that folding. We'll stay in a cow pose to begin with, just as a counter there. So lift the tailbone, lift your heart, and then feel your shoulder blades press towards one another. Feel the light constriction in the spine, and then feel that belly just drop down. Breathe into this shape. And then exhale, round, dropping the head, dropping the tailbone, finding that nice cow rounded shape here. Come back through center, drop the belly, open the heart, lift the gaze, and then exhale, round. All right, from here we're gonna send the knees out wide. Or actually no, we're gonna come into our Sphinx pose to begin with. So we'll begin to press ourselves forward. Maybe you gently just begin to find a quick chaturanga, right? Just engaging the elbow or engaging the triceps until you come all the way down. Once you're down here, untuck your toes. Feel the tops of the toes press down into the earth. Feel your hip bones press down into the earth. Walk your elbows underneath your shoulders. So just setting up, sometimes we don't have like the best body awareness. I know I sometimes mess up too. So just notice, are your elbows back here? Can you see your elbows? You should be able to see your elbows, right? So they're underneath the shoulders or a little bit forward. Take a moment here to press the heart forward. Feel like a brightness in your chest. And then press into the tops of the feet and the hips. Engage your core a little bit to protect the lower back. And you can stay upright like this. Sometimes it feels good to kind of hold it up like this for a while. Or you can kind of release your head down. But keep the brightness in your chest, even though the chin is tucked, right? Breathe here. You should feel like a little bit of tractioning, like you're not being super active here, but your elbows are pressing back a little bit so that the heart is tractioned forward. You're breathing into that constricted space in the lower back. If this is too deep, you can always come into your crocodile pose with the hands underneath the forehead. And this is a back bend too, right? But it's a little bit gentler. Also, walking the elbows out a little bit further can soften the shape a bit too. Make sure the shoulders aren't hiked up towards the ears. And even though this is it feels kind of active, right? Can you find a little bit of softening, a little bit of ease? I love that saying that yoga is finding that balance between effort and ease, and that's not only in your yang practices, but it's in your yin practices too. People don't really think of yin as effort, but there's sensation, and sensation is effort on your mind. So finding that place where you're not having too much sensation or not too little sensation. The balance. Lost the timer. Oh, there it is. All right. From here, if you want to come into seal pose, it's a deep shape, but you'll walk your hands. I like to walk them out just like an inch out. So where my pointer fingers are, I just move it 1 inch out. So my hands are slightly at a diagonal, and then I straighten my arms. And this is super deep. So if this is too much, just come straight back down. Not for me today. We're here for 3 more breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Take 1 more deep inhale. And then exhale, come down. Bring your hands underneath the forehead. Let your head drop down, coming into your crocodile pose. You can bend the knees and then windshield wiper the feet side to side. From here, begin to bring your hands to your low ribs. Engage your elbows into the rib cage, so really tuck it in, and then press up into your tabletop. From here, we're going to come into a child's pose. Of course, I love the wide kneed variation. We're going to come into a thread the needle child's pose, so just kind of set up for that. It's better with like a wider stance in the knees. Reach your arms up and overhead, and then we'll hold a traditional child's pose balasana for about a minute or so. So just drop the head down. If it doesn't reach, you can put a pillow or a block underneath the forehead. The wider your knees are, the more opening you have in the inner and outer hips, and it feels really nice and juicy. So I hope you enjoy this child's pose. Maybe for the first few moments, you activate your fingertips, coming onto the pads of the fingertips, and then you walk your hands out a little bit further out in front of you, creating more space underneath the armpits and the arms here, and then drop the elbows down. Breathe into the shape. Allow your hips to melt a little bit closer to your heels. You're always welcome to slide a pillow underneath your sit bones if this is too much. Sometimes I like to self-assist myself in this shape. So maybe kind of play around with bringing your left hand to that left hip crease and just pressing it back away from you. Feeling that external rotation of the thigh bone. And then you can switch sides, bringing the right hand to that right hip crease, and then pressing it back behind you a bit at a diagonal. Allowing the weight of your hand to open you up. Extending the arms back out in front. We're gonna tent the left fingertips. And then we're going to slide the right hand underneath that left armpit. So the right shoulder is down and the right temple comes down. If the right temple does not reach the earth, you can slide a pillow underneath. Make it comfy. And then breathe here. You're opening up the back of the heart here. So the area between the shoulder blades is lengthening, the rhomboids area. So just begin to breathe into, this is like a subtle heart opener. It's really good for your shoulders. You can relax the left hand back down. Maybe you find a half bind by bringing the left hand up and over to the right hip crease. And then maybe you peel the left shoulder back a bit. But just take it to whatever feels comfortable for you today. Begin to relax into this shape. If your mind begins to wander at any point throughout practice, just focus on the body and the breath, right? Letting go of everything else. And just being here in this moment. Slowly begin to extend the left arm out long. And then you can tent the fingertips. And then you'll bring the right hand back out. And then we'll switch sides here. So you're going to slide the left hand underneath the right armpit and then bring the left temple down. The left arm will reach up and overhead. You can keep it there. You can bring the palm of the right hand down. Maybe you find that half bind, swinging the right arm up and around, grabbing that area between the hips and the upper body, peeling that right shoulder back a little bit more. Breathe into this gentle heart opening. As you open the back of the heart, a very vulnerable space. Breathe into your shoulders. And then breathe into your hips, right? This is like a full body yin pose. Breathing here for just a few more moments. We'll be here for 3 breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Last time, take a deep inhale. As you exhale, begin to find that right arm out in front of you. Begin to tent the right fingertips and then reach the left arm out in front. And then round up into your tabletop. Drop the belly, open the heart, lift the gaze. And then exhale, round. From here, we're gonna come into a puppy pose. So hips are over your knees. And then you're just gonna walk your hands out in front of you. Maybe at first you keep the fingers tented and then you drop the head down. Breathe into the shape as you're opening up the heart and you're melting the heart towards the earth below you into this heart melting pose. You should feel that light constriction at the sacral lumbar spine. Sometimes yin acts as like a subtle acupuncture for the body as we begin to compress areas. Areas lose that flow of chi, but once we begin to open them up, as we come out of the shape, all the chi and all the oxygen begins to flow into these areas, bringing them some nice renewal, rejuvenation. You can bring the palms down to the earth now if you were tented. Feel the lengthening in the side body here. Breathe into this shape. Take a deep inhale and a cleansing exhale. Take another one. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Begin to come onto your tented fingertips. Feel the side body lengthening. Bring the elbows down now and bend the elbows, bringing the hands to prayer pose, bringing the thumbs to your traps, the area underneath on the sides of your neck. Maybe you give yourself a little self-massage. Feel the opening underneath the armpits and the triceps. And then slowly lengthen the arms back out. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. And then we're going to find a closed knee child's pose. We're going to bring our hands back behind us, coming into this fetal variation of balasana. Drop the head down, open up the shoulders. Breathe here. Take a deep inhale and a cleansing exhale. Find a little comfort here, right? This is probably a lot more comfortable than holding that puppy pose. So just begin to find a little bit of happiness here, choosing that happiness regardless of whatever shape we were just in. Maybe you even bring a smile to your face in this balasana shape. Alright, slowly begin to roll up. Coming to sit on your heels, relax your shoulders down. Find a neck roll, bringing the right ear to the right shoulder. Bring it down into your chin, into your chest, and then left ear to left shoulder. And then the other way, left ear, left shoulder, to chin to chest, over to the right. Alright. From here, you're going to walk your hands out in front of you. You're going to lengthen the left leg back behind you. Bend the knee, and then bring the knee over to the left as if you're like peeing on a fire hydrant. And then just find a hip circle or two. So just bring it forward, down, and back, and then find it the other way. So bring the knee up, back, down, forward. All right. From here, we're going to step the left foot to the outside of the left hand. In practices, I like to do the left side first. So we're going to get into the left hip first. So notice where your back knee is. Are you like on the kneecap itself? Ooh, not comfortable. Try to get on the meaty part in front of the knee. So just tuck your toes and then kind of slide your knee forward so you're on that meaty part. And then you can untuck the toes. If that's hard to find because of the flexibility in your hip flexors, you're welcome to just bring like a pillow underneath that knee. Sometimes people put blocks underneath their shin so that their knee's hovering. You can try that as well. You're welcome to stay upright like this. You're welcome to keep your foot planted. But if you want to get into the inner and outer hips, you can wing your dragon. So coming onto the outer edge of the front foot so that the knee and the foot are going in that same direction. Begin to relax here. Maybe you're able to deepen it a little bit by bringing the elbows down. Ooh. Maybe your hands come to blocks instead. And just go somewhere that's sustainable for you, right? For me, coming onto my elbows without blocks, not quite sustainable for me right now. So just know where you're meant to be here. Oh. There we go. So you're trying to find like for this shape specifically, I would say even like a 3 or 4 out of 10, because with time and gravity, you really do open up a little bit more. And it's such a deep pose that you don't want to go too deep too quick, because you're just going to have to come out of it. And that kind of counters the whole purpose of yin, right? Is finding that stillness and finding that place where you're able to breathe smooth instead of having like a super fast breath like you would in like a yin or a yang class. I always like to find a little bit of movement though, but that's usually in the beginning. I'll just like move my hips side to side a bit, and then I'll just come back. And then relax all the areas of tension. Just notice where you're holding it. Are you holding it in your jaw? The area between the eyebrows? Are you holding it in your hips? Breathe into the shape. We have a minute left in this shape. You're welcome to stay here. If you want to deepen it, if it's okay in your practice, you can begin to bend that back knee, the right knee. The left hand will swing back. Maybe you can't reach it and you just kind of like engage that hamstring. Otherwise, you can lassie it up with a strap or grab the outer foot. Before I begin to pull my heel into my butt, I like to find a heart opener here. So I press my foot into my hand so that my heart peels open towards my left knee. And then I begin to press that heel closer in. As I bend the left elbow, that right heel comes a little bit closer, and I feel a little bit more lengthening in that right hip flexor as well as the quad. We're actually going to do something a little bit different than I usually teach in yin. Recently I've been taking some of these yin classes where at the end of their yin practice they do one kind of slightly active or more active shape. So we're going to get into like a camel pose, but it's going to be supported and it won't be that deep. But here in this lizard, it's really great for getting into the hip flexor so that once you're opening up into your camel, like having a nice open hip flexor is really, both hip flexors is really great for the shape. So begin to breathe here, knowing all those heart openers and shoulder openers and this hip opener all are leading to something. Start wearing watches on both hands. All right, slowly begin to release the foot if you have it. And then press back into your tabletop. Ooh, maybe you come through a quick half split too, connecting to the hamstring. And then find whatever counter movements feel intuitive, shaking the hips, swagging the hips, whatever feels good. All right. And then we'll go into the other side. So you'll lift that right leg back behind you. Bend the knee and bring that right knee over to the right as if you're peeing on a fire hydrant. And then find that hip circle, bringing the knee forward, down and back, up, forward, down and back, and then the other way. Back, down, forward, and up. Once more. Bring that right foot to the outside of the right hand. And then begin to settle into your dragon or lizard here. So again, making sure you're on the front of that back kneecap. For me, I like bring my knee down and then I slide my knee a little bit forward. So I'm on that meaty part of that back knee. You can untuck your back toes. You can support it by bringing something underneath the knees. You can keep this right foot in. You want your front knee over the front ankle. And then you can peel the right foot open if you'd like, winging your dragon. And then breathe into whatever shape you are. You're welcome to go deeper if that's in your practice, bringing your elbows all the way down to the earth. Ooh. Breathe here. Connecting to the inner and outer hips of the right leg. Connecting to the hip flexors of the left leg. This is area, the left hip flexors, the right hip flexors, that we're constantly shorting all the time. Shortening, because we're always sitting. And then we go running, and then we go cycling. And all those things, they really begin to shorten this area. So yoga or stretching is always really important to do for this area and the quads as well. For some reason in yoga we do a lot of hamstrings and then a little bit of hip flexors and quads. But it does feel really good to open up the hamstring, so I understand why there's so many poses that are hamstring oriented. But the hip flexors are very important too. So breathe here. Whenever the mind wanders, just come back. Come back to your body and come back to your breath. All right, from here, you can stay here. You can deepen it by bending the back knee, swinging the right arm back behind you. Maybe you're just activating that hamstring and kicking the heel closer to your butt. Maybe you're able to lasso it with a strap, or you can grab the foot with the hand. If you grab the foot with the hand, begin to press your foot into your hand, opening up the chest towards the right, and then bringing that heel in closer to your butt as you bend the right elbow. Connecting to that hamstring, it's probably very sensational. So breathe with it. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. We're here for 3 more breaths. Wherever you are is where you're meant to be. So hold it for another 3 breaths. You've got it. Inhale and exhale. Take a deep inhale. Let it go. Inhaling completely and exhaling super deeply. Let it all out. Slowly come back through center. Maybe you begin to straighten the front leg, finding a quick half split, connecting to the hamstrings. And then press back into your tabletop. Find some hip circles, whatever feels intuitive. Wagging the hips side to side. And then we will set up for our camels. Begin to sit back on your heels. Or maybe you tuck your toes. Let's tuck our toes. And maybe you even bring like a pillow or a chair behind you. Or you even bring it onto your heels actually. Okay, from here, begin to press your hips forward as if you're like on a wall. So imagine like you don't want your hips sending back. You want to send them forward. So imagine you're pressing onto the wall. Engage your core. Bring your hands to your lower back. Your thumbs are out and your pinky fingers are in. Begin to feel like a chicken. Bring your elbows a little bit closer on your back body so that the elbows are pressing in towards one another. Support the lower back by pressing your hands into the lower back. Engage your core and then slowly begin to tip back into your camel pose. You can stay here. Maybe your right hand comes down to a pillow or a bolster that's on your heels, and then the left. Coming into the supported kind of camel pose here. Maybe if it's okay on your neck, you can drop the head back, opening up your throat chakra towards the ceiling or the sky. Breathe here. Press your hips forward, engage your core. And then slowly walk your right hand back up. And then the left. And then remove your bolster or pillow. And then bring your hands to your heels, drop your head for a quick rabbit pose. For the top of the head presses down into the earth, and you can lift your hips a little bit, finding a little bit of opening in the back of the shoulders. So you can kind of look at me at first if you've never done rabbit pose. So you're grabbing the heels. You're straightening the arms. You're tucking the chin into the chest,
crown of the head down, and then press your head, or your hips up, my bad. And just feel a nice stretch in the backs of the shoulders. Come back down, hips to heels, rise up here. We'll find that once again, maybe this time you don't need a pillow or bolster. I like to have my toes tucked just because it elevates my support, right? It elevates my heels. Begin to press the hips forward. Bring the hands to the lower back, pinkies in, thumbs out. Bring your elbows closer to one another on the back body, engage your core. Press your hips forward as if you're on a wall. Begin to open your heart up towards the heavens. And then you can stay here. Or maybe your back hand or your right hand or left hand comes to your heel. And then the other one. And then press your heart. So you want to grab your heels so that you're opening up. You should feel a nice stretch in the pec major and minor, opening up the chest here. Breathing deeply. Maybe the throat opens up as you drop the head back. If you bring your shoulder blades closer together, you create like a little shelf with your traps. And then slowly engage your core as you come back up. Begin to bend the knees, send your hips onto your heels. Grab your heels with your hands. Tuck the chin into your chest, drop the forehead or the crown of the head down to the earth. Lift the hips up. And then untuck your toes. Bring your hips to your heels, round up. And then just slide your legs out in front of you and we'll come onto our back bodies. Give yourself a nice big hug, rock side to side. Thank yourself for that nice, beautiful practice. If I do say so myself. Felt really good for me. Hopefully it felt great for you. And then just take a moment here to massage the lower back after that active-ish camel pose. It's a pretty deep heart opener. But we really try to warm ourselves up for it, right? We got our hips flexors open, we got our chest open, our shoulders, our heart. Begin to drop the knees over to the right and arms come out to a T. You're welcome to stay here. If you want to deepen it, you'll bring your left knee over the right knee as if you're sitting cross-legged, and that deepens it. The further away your knees are, or the closer up, depends on how deep you want to go. The higher up, the deeper it is. And then make sure your hips are underneath your shoulders. For me, I need to tuck my hip a little bit back so that my hips are underneath my shoulders. Creates for a better twist. Now both of your shoulders to relax down. Begin to surrender into this shape. Relaxing your body, breathing deeply. Letting go of all the thoughts that are popping up. Trying to stay present. Trying to stay here. Slowly undo the legs. Engage your core to bring your knees back up through center. From here, find a happy baby. Allow the knees to go wide. And then you can either stay here with the hands on the knees or you can grab the outsides of the feet, just passing through here. So we allow the spine to come back into equilibrium. All right. We're going to come back into our supine twist. So you'll bring your knees over to the left. Oh yeah, so I like to scoop my hips over to the opposite side just a little bit. That helps me keep my hips and shoulders in line. Should have mentioned that on the other side. We'll slide our knees over to the left this time. Arms come out to a T. If you want to deepen it, top foot or top knee over the bottom knee. Find this twist. Allow both of your shoulders to rest down. If the right shoulder's coming up, you've gone too far. You might need to slide a pillow or something underneath your knees or come into a softer variation. Gaze opposite of the knees and then breathe deeply. Allow this decompression of the spine to smooth out your mind and allow you to get calm and relaxed. Slowly begin to undo your legs. Begin to engage your core. Come back up through center. Find another child, or not child, oh my gosh, happy baby. Well, happy baby is a child, right? So rock side to side. Maybe this time you get into your hamstrings a little bit more. If you grab your feet, you can straighten one leg. Breathe into that hamstring. And then rebend it and then straighten the other leg. Breathe into that hamstring belly. And then kind of rock side to side. Getting into your hips and hamstrings, just rocking. All right, we will get into our final resting pose, Shavasana. You can extend the legs out long, arms out long. You can find a wall and extend your legs up towards the wall. It's always nice to have an inversion. Maybe you bring your soles of the feet together and the knees wide for Supta Baddha Konasana. Maybe you bring blocks or pillows underneath the knees. Just begin to get comfy. I'm going to begin to guide you through your Shavasana. I'll sit up to guide you through it. So here, extended in your Shavasana, begin to feel your entire body rest down into the earth. Feel where your body is touching the mat below you, where it's touching your physical mat. And then notice where it's touching the ground, the carpet or the hardwood floor. Notice the different textures. Then begin to notice where it's touching your clothing. Areas where the clothing might be a little bit tight, maybe where the clothing is a little bit loose. Begin to notice where you feel the hair on your body, so the crown of the head. Maybe your hair is draped on your shoulders. Maybe you even feel like a little bit of wind on the hair on your arms or legs. Then begin to feel where your body is exposed to the air around you. Noticing the temperature of the body as the air around you is either warm or cool. Maybe it's dry or a little bit moist. Maybe there's an aroma in the air that you can smell. Maybe there's sounds going on around you. Begin to notice if you hear any birds chirping. I hear seagulls. Maybe you notice if you have a roommate or a partner or a dog or a child running around. You can hear their feet on the floor, hear some little chitty chatter. And then begin to tune into the sound of your own breath. Maybe here your breath has slowed down, so it's very light, so you can only hear a little bit. We can really tune into it. Hearing that sound of air coming in and out through the nostrils. Begin to feel the beating of your heart. Sometimes at the end of the practice, I feel it in my fingertips, so maybe you begin to send your awareness to the fingertips and feel the pulsing that's going on in the fingertips. As if it's like little trickles of energy popping up in each little finger, pulsing, sparkling. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your heart. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe you feel the rise and fall of your belly. Maybe you notice that other parts of the body move a little bit with every inhalation and with every exhalation, as every part of the body is connected physically and energetically. As you begin to become hyper aware of the body, can you begin hyper aware of your thoughts? Almost actively placing them in bubbles and allowing them to float away. And can you actively try to dwell in the spaces between those thoughts? Thought pops up, flows away in a bubble. And then in that space, in between those thoughts, you feel this
bliss. This bliss that comes from within. That niyama of santosha. It's like regardless of what's going on around you, just feel this happiness within you. You feel like a smile that's going on in each and every cell of your body. Can you begin to bring this pure bliss with you for the rest of your day? As you inhale, feel the bliss fill the body deep into your cells, deep into your DNA. And then as you exhale, release what doesn't serve you, release any stagnant energy, and then just release your body into the earth, letting go of your consciousness, and just let go. Fully releasing, fully surrendering into your Shavasana. Take a deep inhale and a cleansing exhale. You're welcome to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. If you're ready to continue on to your day, begin to invite movements in the fingers and the toes, the wrist and the ankles. Begin to make your way onto your side body into a little fetal position, resting your head on your biceps and curling up like a little ball. Take this moment here in this fetal position for thanking yourself for making it to your practice today, for connecting to your body and connecting to your breath. Gently press yourself up to seated, facing the computer or laptop. And then begin to close your eyes, get comfortable, root down into your sit bones, relax the shoulders away from the ears, reach up through the crown of the head. Bring your hands into Anjali Mudra prayer pose. Your eyes are closed or you're softly gazing at your fingertips. Take a deep inhale and a cleansing exhale. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you're able to connect to that inner bliss and bring it with you for the rest of the day. The light and the shadow within me, my whole true self, acknowledges and loves and bows down to all that's within you. Namaste.